Hi everyone. I am trying to get this set up. Just a second. Okay. Ooh, don't look at that mess behind me. Okay, so I have a project that I am working on today, and I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and do a live stream while I am working on it. Just for fun. I haven't done a live stream in about a year, and yeah, so ignore everything you see behind me. Please ignore all of it because this room is a mess right now. I'm doing laundry today and I just don't have time to deal with what's in the background. So ignore all that, because the point is today that I'm making a birthday banner for my daughter because she is turning 5 a week from tomorrow. And so for each kid, when they have a birthday, I like to make a custom banner for their party, just for added decor and for fun because it's cute. So today I am working on a Snoopy banner. So I found Snoopy fabric. This one is from Hobby Lobby, I believe, and this one is from Joann Fabrics, and Snoopy is the theme of the party. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, along with some other fabrics I just grabbed from my stash. So I have different reds, a yellow, and white to add to it. I just based it off the colors that are on the fabrics, and hopefully it'll turn out good. I don't have a whole lot of the other fabrics, so we'll see. I usually try to have like a pattern to the like fabric bunting when I make it, like the main print red, main print yellow, all that kind of stuff. But this one's going to have to be kind of random because I don't have as much of various fabrics. But that's what I'm working on today. The kids are out of the house with Jeremiah, so I thought it'd just be fun to kind of do a video while I am working on this. I have my pattern here. This is the plastic one that I made from the flexible chopping mats you can get at Dollar Tree. I actually have acrylic versions of this that a lovely viewer named Philippe made for me, but I am in such a hurry I didn't have time to dig those out. So we're using this one today. This is a free pattern that you can get on my website in the shop tab. So whitneysews.com, and then go to the shop tab and you can find this pattern, the PDF printable version of it. And I also have a video showing how to convert it to a plastic template like this. Let me actually see if I can grab the links really quick and put them in the chat to help you out with that. So give me just a second and I can load those links up for you in case anyone is wanting to go ahead and get them. So in the chat right now is the link for the PDF. And then let me try to get the other one real fast. Okay, and then there is the video for how I make my plastic templates. And then I've also added the link to the bunting tutorial. That way, if anyone has not seen this project before or wants to follow along, it is available for you now. I'm sorry, I'm kind of switching back and forth between my phone that I'm filming on and my computer just to make sure I can do everything the way it needs to be done. Okay, and don't forget to hit that like button if you can. It definitely helps me out a lot if you hit like on this video, because it shows YouTube that you actually do enjoy watching my content, and that is very, very much appreciated. Okay, so I have not actually measured this yet to even see if it doesn't. Dang it. Okay. My template does not actually fit on my fabric. I did not check that ahead of time. It is too big. So I will have to pull out a different yellow fabric. That one's not big enough. Okay. So we will not start with yellow. I will start with this fabric. This is a piece that is left over from the t-shirt quilt I made for my same daughter 2 years ago for her birthday. And I had used some different clothing and stuff for it, for the between the t-shirt pieces. And so this is a piece that was left from that. So I have no idea how many I'll be able to get out of this, but what I'm doing is folding it over a little bit and making sure I can fit the template onto the fold there. I'm going to put on my safety glove because the project this is left over from is actually the project where I did in fact cut my finger, and that was a pretty traumatic event and a trip to the emergency room. So I put on my glove, and then I'm using my rotary cutter with my rotary safe glove to cut this out. Hello, Paula. To answer your question, I do not know if I will be doing lives more often. They definitely are an easier option right now, because you may have noticed I have not posted a real tutorial in quite some time. And that is because I simply don't have time. I only have one night a week that I can work on videos and stuff. Jeremiah make sure the kids are completely occupied on Monday nights, and that's my work night. But I also used to have nap time. So when the kids napped, I would film and stuff. So since I don't have that nap time anymore, I really am struggling to get anything done video-wise. So I don't know. So this may become an option that I can do, because it's definitely easier to do a live video, and then I do it live. When it's done, and that's a lot easier than planning out a project, filming it, scripting it, editing, all that stuff that takes a ton of time. So I don't know, I might do more of these in the future. To answer Jen's question, I am working on a fabric banner for my daughter for her birthday. And her birthday party is Snoopy themed, and I could not find any Snoopy birthday decorations that weren't like Christmassy. And I'm not about that life, because it's April. I mean, I love Christmas, but it's April, and so we didn't want Snoopy Christmas decor for a party. So I am making her a fabric banner from Snoopy Fabrics. This piece was not quite big enough to cut two from, so I cut off a little scrap, and I'm just sewing it to the other side. So it'll be on the back. It doesn't matter. And I hope the sound of the machine is not incredibly annoying on the video. If it is, I'm sorry. Okay, hopefully that's big enough now. I have to press that real quick so I can get a nice, a good cut from it. And this, by the way, when I do live videos, it feels really weird because I cannot actually hear myself, like the feedback from the video. So I feel like I'm literally just talking to nothing, and it is a strange feeling. To answer Paula's question, yes, I did make that quilt back there. I had to check and see which one it was. I started that quilt before I had any kids. It's kind of an emotional story, by the way. So I started before I had any kids. It's paper pieced on like paper lunch sacks, like those little brown lunch bags. And I worked on it for, I don't know, a couple months, I guess. And then I stopped working on it for several years and had 2 kids during that time. Then I got pregnant a 3rd time and thought, wouldn't it be fun to finish this quilt, and it can be a baby quilt for this unexpected child. And then that pregnancy unfortunately resulted in a loss. And while I was grieving the loss, I finished that quilt. So it took on a whole other meaning for me while I was working on it, and it helped me through my grief. And I am incredibly happy that I completed it, but unfortunately it had started out intended to be a baby quilt for our first baby that we spent 3 years trying to get pregnant with, and it ended up being a mourning kind of quilt for me. So it's kind of weird how it just came full circle, but yeah, so long story short, I did make that quilt, and it took me many, many years and a whole lot of emotion to make, but I finished it and I'm very proud of it. And yeah, I love how it turned out, even though it has a lot of feelings with it. And hello to everyone who's joining from all over the world. That is so exciting. If you haven't said yet where you're tuning in from, I would love to hear. And sorry that you can't really see what I'm doing at this point. I can't figure out a way to angle the camera downward very good because I'm using my phone. But I will hold things up periodically. And for those who, okay, so let's see, we have hello from Oklahoma City. I am also in the Oklahoma City area. We have Colorado, North Carolina, Santa Barbara, Atlanta, North Carolina, and then there were some from other countries, Malaysia, South Africa, and the UK. Awesome. I'm so excited you all are here. In Maryland, Chicago. That's awesome. Okay, so here is what the pieces look like after they've been cut, because here's what the template looks like. So then that looks kind of weird, I know, for fabric bunting, which here's what fabric bunting looks like right here. That is a smaller version of what I'm making right now. Yes, I am an Okie, born and raised. So, okay. So here's what it looks like. And what you do is you sew along this really slanted line. So then when it's flipped right side out, so it looks kind of like Superman symbol right here. But once that side is sewn, it brings the back together like this. And when you flatten it, it turns into the triangle shape. And so my mom is actually the one who showed me how to do this. And the reason I like doing it like this is because I feel like I get a sharper point at the bottom of it. And I don't know, I just think it ends up looking nicer with just the one seam up the back instead of seams on each side. It is definitely just personal preference on that. Like the other kind of bunting is absolutely fine. And this definitely takes a little bit more fabric. But I don't know. It's quicker to cut out because you're only cutting one piece instead of two for each little flag part. And then it's half the sewing because there's only one seam instead of two. So I don't know. I just prefer this way. So let me sew this one real quick and get it flipped and ironed, and you can see how it looks. Okay, and I am not using matching thread at all because I'm just using up bobbins and things that I had wound already. So here is how it looks at this point. So here's the folded edge. Here is the two short sides, and then I sewed the long angled side. That's where I pieced it together earlier because I didn't have a big enough piece. So then I'm going to turn it right side out. Sorry, after I clip the end, I will turn it right side out. And I try to just clip it as close as I can without cutting that stitching there. And then all I have handy is a pencil. I'm going to very carefully poke out the end with the pencil because I forgot to grab anything else. And I get a fairly good point just from poking it out like that. And then I'm going to take it over to my iron that I already have on right next to my computer, which is probably not the best idea, but that's okay. And I'm just going to give it a quick press. I'm going to give that center seam a quick press down inside there. And then I'm going to press both sides. And my top edges don't always line up. So then later I just trim those before I sew it into the binding at the end. Okay, so here is what one finished flag looks like. And that's just with the one seam plus where I pieced it together. And actually this one turned out really nice at the top edge, so I don't have to trim it at all. And then once I have them all made, I will just sew them inside my piece of binding here. I will open it up, tuck it between the layers, and sew it closed. And as I mentioned earlier, I do have the free pattern as a PDF on my website, whitneysews.com. I also have the tutorial for making the plastic template and the tutorial for this project already located on my channel. When this video is all done, I will try to make sure to put all those links in the video description box. So onward to cutting out more pieces now. So I would love to know what you all are working on today. Besides this project, I've been procrastinating this project. I picked out my fabrics like a week ago out of my stash and meant to work on it so that I wasn't last minute because Skylar's party is 1 week from today. But instead, I decided to start making a pair of jodhpurs because, you know, why not? So I spent this week working on a pair of jodhpurs, which is like riding pants. They look like this. This view right here. And this is just a test pair because I wanted to. And then if they go well, I want to make another pair in a different fabric for a costume that will hopefully work out. I don't know. They're actually a lot more complicated to make than I originally realized, because of the way that they fasten up the front, and then there's like 2 sets of pockets and all this crazy stuff that I am just not used to sewing. So they're taking a whole lot longer than I thought they would. But that's totally fine. I'm still enjoying the process. I'm not very far on them. I am this far. And I have like the pockets inside and stuff. And this was like 2 days of working on them. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's taking forever. But that's okay. So I had wanted to work on those today, but I'm like, no, I have to make this banner because Skylar's birthday party is next Saturday. To Mary, how is my finger doing? Here's my finger, the one that I cut with this. I had to have the stitches and everything. If you are in person and look at it, it looks like I have like a healed burn. Like it kind of is a different texture looking right around here. I have to keep my nail cut down to basically nothing on that side because my nerve endings are messed up. And because of that, if my nail is any length at all and anything touches it, it sends really weird nerve signals to my brain and it freaks me out. So I just have to keep my nail cut super short. Sorry, I have to stand up. I have this at a funny angle. So I have to keep the nail super short, but other than that, there's no like lasting long-term problem or anything, which I am very thankful for. And if someone doesn't know what happened and they saw it, like I said, they probably wouldn't notice anything, or if they did notice, they would, like I said, just think that I had like touched a hot pan and burned myself or something. So I am very grateful that it has healed up as nicely as it has. Okay. Oh, stink. This fabric is like an 1/8 inch too small to cut one more flag. Oh, that's frustrating. Okay, I have way less fabric to work with than I thought. So I think I'm going to have to add some more fabrics to this and hope Skylar doesn't throw a fuss because she kind of picked out these fabrics and was like, these and these only, not that, you know. So I think I'm just gonna have to sneak in some other fabrics and hope she doesn't notice, just to make it big enough. Okay, onward to this white tone-on-tone dot fabric that I think my mom gave me, or I swiped from my mom. I don't remember. Actually, I think she gave it to me for a project, and I used a little bit of it for that project and then just kept all the rest because, you know, why not? Okay. How to copy a t-shirt. Is that you want me to show how to copy a t-shirt? I have a very old video where I do show how to make a t-shirt, and I believe it was from copying another one. It's a like purple and green striped t-shirt. So if you go way back, like if you search Whitney Sews t-shirt or something, and then look for a thumbnail where I'm wearing a purple and green striped shirt, that would be the one. It's very old, but I've been around YouTube a whole long time, so I have a lot of old videos. This summer, actually next month, less than a month, in 3 weeks, I will have been on YouTube for 12 years. That is such a long time. That is insane. That's the longest time I've done anything in my life. That's longer than I've been married. That's longer than anything I've done except school. I was in school longer than that, but that is it. So, and it's funny because YouTube was never a thing that I planned to do. It was just where my friends and I went to school for broadcast journalism and mass media, that sort of thing. And my friends and I, we would post our projects on YouTube so we could, like, people who weren't in our class but it was our friends could see our projects, our video projects. And so this was like super early days of YouTube, before there were ads, before like any of that stuff. And so I had been posting my stuff over there, and my final project was, I was supposed to do a video showing my style as a director or whatever, and I was like, I don't have a style as a directing style. Psh. So instead, I did a video showing how to create your own style by sewing, and convinced my teacher that it still fit the project requirements, because yeah. So that's what my first Whitney Sews video was, and I was going to name it Sewing with Whitney because I had to think of a name like on the spot. But I was like, no, I don't want it to sound like I'm copying Sewing with Nancy. Not that my teacher would have even known who Sewing with Nancy was or what it was. So instead, I named it Whitney Sews. And I made the video. I got a really good grade on it, and I put it on YouTube. And I graduated 2 days later from college. And I posted it as well in a LiveJournal group. So if anyone remembers what LiveJournal was, I was only on LiveJournal for the sake of this one t-shirt reconstruction group, because I was all about t-shirt reconstruction at the time. It was my jam. I had like ex-boyfriends t-shirts that I would cut up for fun and all this stuff. And so I posted my video over there, and because I had presented it in the video as though it was like a weekly show, because I thought that would like help me get a better grade if I acted like I was picking up like a regular broadcast event. And so people started asking like, oh, cool, I enjoyed that. When's the next video come out? And I was like, I don't know. And I had filmed that one on like our school's like super professional level cameras, the ones that were like massive and you had to put them on your shoulder and, you know, all that stuff. And for graduation, I had asked my parents for a little flip camera. It was this little bitty camera that you would push this button and bloop, out pop this little USB thing, and you could plug it straight into your computer then to like pull your footage off. So that was all I had. It did not have a zoom. It did not have any feature at all. It was just a little handy cam thing. So the next week I was like, well, I'm at home. My job hasn't started yet. So why not? I guess I'll film something. And so I filmed something and I posted it. And the next week I filmed something and I posted it. And I just kept doing that. And then I worked my summer job that year, the same job I'd had the 2 previous years. I was a manager at an outdoor amphitheater in the ticket department. And so I just like one day a week, because I worked evenings. So one day a week before I went to work, I would film and edit as much as I could. And then I'd come home in the evening and I would like finish editing and post my video. And it was fun. And my summer job ended and I thought, well, I guess I'll keep it up and see what happens. And so that's what I did. And I just kept at it. And off and on, I worked like real jobs. But YouTube was always in the background as a thing I continued to do. Because I enjoyed being challenged to come up with like new projects all the time. And it gave me something to sew, because I didn't want to keep showing the same kinds of things. So I was always working on something different. And I don't know, it was just fun to me. And then eventually I made partner and I started earning a little bit of money at it, which was super nice because it helped offset the cost of cameras and fabric and everything else. And then when I had Peyton, it allowed me to continue to stay home. And yeah, so I somehow became a YouTuber. I forget where that story was even going. But to answer the question, what I'm working on today is a Snoopy banner for my daughter's 5th birthday party. She wants to have a Snoopy party, and I could not find Snoopy birthday decor. And I usually make a birthday banner for my kids anyway, using like with some sort of theme. And so that's what I'm doing today. I have the pattern on my website, whitneysews.com, in the shop tab, and I have tutorials on YouTube showing step by step in a more concise manner on how to make this banner. And it's the one that you can see in the background of all of my videos. Ignore the mess. This is a miniaturized version of it that I did to perfectly fit my background, but I'm making the full-size version today for the birthday party. And my husband and kids are out of the house today, which is how my house is miraculously quiet right now. So I am just cutting out some of the banners, and then I will get to sewing them in a little bit, and then I will have to pull out some more fabric to make more of them. Thank you to Shadow Please for following me for at least 10 years. Yes, I do still have the 2 dogs. They are lazy bums, and they just sit on the couch pretty much all the time. Even though we have almost 2 acres of land, they want to sit on the couch. But they are getting rather old. My oldest dog is about 14 now, and the younger one is like 12 now. So they're getting up there. They're dachshunds. As for my kids, I think I just saw someone ask how old my kids are. My oldest turned 6 in January, and my youngest is turning 5 next week. And they are very close in age, which makes them very close. So they are the best of friends most days, but other days they are the best of enemies. What fabric to use for a satin shower cap? I have no idea. I don't own a shower cap. I don't know anything about them. Sorry. I would assume if you're actually wearing it in the shower, it would have to be something that's waterproof or water resistant. But that's literally all I know. And if anyone is wondering, I did not pre-wash my fabric because I am not being a responsible sewer. And this banner will never get washed anyway, so I don't care. Okay. Oh, you meant a sleep cap. I don't know about that either. I'm sorry. I don't know. Is a sleep cap just something you wear like over your hair to keep it from getting tangled while you sleep? Because I don't know what they are. I'm sorry. Okay, so I have no idea how many like flags I'm going to put on this bunting. Just kind of winging it all. I usually go into it with more of a plan, but I don't know. I just felt like winging it today. Okay. And this fabric, I actually already patched a pair of her jeans with. My daughter had a rip in the knee of her pants, and I had patched a rip in her sister's pants with a piece of fabric that had a little puppy dog on it. So she wanted her jeans patched. And I thought it would be really cute to patch it with a picture of Snoopy holding Woodstock. And I surprised her with it, and she absolutely loves it. I'm so happy. Okay. To Anita, Am I resuming video tutorials? Unfortunately, no. I talked about this a little bit ago. I cannot find time to make tutorials. I wish I could, but my kids don't nap anymore, and we homeschool, and they are with me 24/7, and I just cannot come up with time to make tutorials. It would take me a month or a month and a half to do a tutorial start to finish, having my only my one night a week work night. And like I would only be able to do the one video and nothing else. So for now, I am still not doing tutorials, and instead I am trying to do chit chat kind of videos every once in a while. So at least I'm posting, and you all get to see me and see what I'm working on. But yeah, tutorials just still aren't possible at this stage in life. I don't know, maybe in the future it'll change as my kids get older and more, have more things that they do on their own. I don't know. Do I still use vintage machines? Kind of. At the moment, I have been using this one because I have needed to do some buttonholes and things lately. And this is the only machine I have that does buttonholes without like a separate mechanism and all that. So I've been using this one. But I do have this one of my mom's over here that I also use. But my Frankie, my old brown machine that I used for like 10 years straight, had to have the motor replaced, and the motor that we put on it was a pile of poo, to put it nicely, and was not worth the like $40 because it was junk. And so that machine is out of commission right now, unfortunately. I do hope to get it back up and running again at some point, but right now I just don't have the time or the mental space to deal with it. So I've just been bouncing back and forth between these two machines that my mom loaned me. This one is a Singer Simple from like the 90s, I think. And then this one is a 201 something from the late 40s or early 50s. I forget which one. But they're both my mom's. She's awesome and is loaning me her spares right now. Okay. Been considering homeschooling. What's the best online resources? I don't know. It kind of depends on like what style of homeschooling and stuff you want to do. I kind of do, I don't know, probably kind of a mix of styles. And honestly, YouTube is my friend on that, because like if I hear about a curriculum that I'm kind of interested in or want to know more about, I go to YouTube and I look up video flip throughs, video reviews, and get people's opinions. I've tried to find YouTubers who I feel like probably have a similar style, like a teaching style, family dynamic of what I have, so that I can get a better feel of if it'll fit for us. And right now we are just doing kindergarten and preschool. So we're not like in the, deep depths of homeschooling yet. So I feel like as my kids get older, things would definitely change on how we do things. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer on that. How did I learn to sew? Well, my mom made pretty much all my clothes when I was growing up, and I was very, very close with my mom. So I would like stand at her shoulder and watch her sew, which now that I sew and have kids, I find that to be incredibly annoying. And I'm like, Mom, how could you put up with me standing like right at your shoulder while you sewed all the time? So like she never really taught me to sew. I just was always there and always observing. And I was either watching my mom sew or reading. Like that's all I did as a kid. And when I was about 13, maybe, my mom started working on a quilt, and she let me have her scraps, and I started making my own quilt on this little sewing machine that I had been given that did not even backstitch. I learned later that that was awful. Um, and it was a paper piece quilt, and I finally actually finished it a few years ago because I set it aside for so long. But yeah, so I started sewing when I was about 13. So I've been sewing 21 years. And then after that, I got into the t-shirt reconstruction because that was like a huge thing with the what's that? Generation T, was that what it was called? There was a book that was out about cutting up t-shirts and making stuff, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So I did that like my last year of high school and first year of college. And then in college, I was introduced to the medieval fair, and so I started making costumes, and yeah, it just kind of went from there. So I'm self-taught, except for I took half a semester of a costuming class in college. So that's the only real training I've ever had in sewing. So yeah. Do I have brothers and sisters? I have one sister. She is older than me. Can I talk about the quilt in the background? Yes. Just a second. So the quilt in the background, I mentioned it earlier, but I will go ahead and give a quick version of it again. Can you even see it now? No. That quilt. It's a paper pieced spider web design quilt that I did on paper lunch bags. And I started it when we were trying to get pregnant with our first child, and I finished it while I was grieving the loss of our third child. And what I'm doing right now is called chain piecing. It's where you don't cut the threads in between the pieces. It saves a lot of thread. And it's just easier because I'm not having to pull the pieces out and cut them every time between. Wow, I did a terrible job cutting this one. I guess there was a wrinkle in the fabric, so it's all terrible looking. Cool. Okay. Oh, I do want to mention, so if you've been around for a while, you know about my sampler sew along that I started like 3 years ago. It was supposed to be a 1-year project, and I got burned out partway through, and the last block was going to be a log cabin block, and that is my favorite quilt block of all time because that is the quilt block my mom was working on when I started my quilt and when she inspired me to start sewing. So log cabin block is super, super special to me. And so I like put the project on hold for a long time, and just in the last few months I finally shared the tutorial for that quilt block. And then finishing a quilt is not my favorite part. I find it very stressful and overwhelming. And so my mom has finished several quilts. So I asked her if she would sew on my blocks together and do like the sashing and all that stuff for me. And she is so lovely. My mom is the best person in the world. And she was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, Mom, I'll pay you. Like, I'll hire you to do this and everything. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. I want to do it. And I was like, yes. So my mom actually finished my sampler sew along quilt for me, and I got it back from her last week. So I have to take pictures of it soon, and then I'll finally get to share how it turned out. But I think I'll give you a sneak peek right now. It turned out so lovely, and since she finished it, I obviously don't have any footage of the finishing process, but we both took a lot of notes because I had specific measurements and plans and things that I wanted her to follow. And she as well took notes while she was doing it of anything that she did that she wasn't sure that I would understand or anything. So I will have a very descriptive, sorry, I shook the camera, very descriptive blog post written up that will accompany the video where I show this finished quilt. But yeah, I am so excited about it. I'll see if I can show parts of it without giving too much away. I still haven't clipped the threads on it, so I have to do that before I can even photograph it. Okay, so here is part of it. So, and here, I'll show you what my favorite part is. This border right here that goes all the way around to set the blocks apart from the thick white border. Can you see that? Does that not look absolutely beautiful? My mom is so awesome. And this little border was actually her idea. I was originally just going to do the thick white border, but when she was at my house and we were laying all the blocks out on the floor, trying to figure out the layout of how it would be, because I wanted the blocks done in such a way that when I do hang it on my quilt ladder over here that my sister got me for Christmas, some of my favorite blocks would be the ones that are displayed. So we were planning all the layout and everything, and I was telling her I want a white border because I think the white makes the bright colors look so nice, even though I don't actually like white in anything else in my life. I only like white on quilts. I don't wear white clothes because I'm so afraid I'll get them dirty. But anyway, so we were laying it out and she's like, I think it needs something else to like separate it. And I was like, but like what? Like what would we use? And so we were talking about, this was the fabric that inspired every other fabric in the entire quilt. And there was just enough. So here is my bag of finished fabrics from the entire quilt. This is all I have left. This little piece right here is folded in half one time. And that is the only fabric left from this. So, I mean, she just barely made it like we were measuring and everything before we like decided on our final plans to make sure it'd work. Thankfully, it worked out. There was no problems because I would not be able to get more of this. And yeah, it just worked out so perfectly. And I cannot wait to get it photographed. I cannot wait to show the pictures. So that is coming sometime soon on my channel. I don't know exactly when yet, because like I said, I haven't photographed it or anything. But yeah, I cannot wait to share that. Okay, I think I missed a few questions. Oh, I hear a dog. Okay. The sewing machine I'm using is a Singer Simple from, I believe, the 90s. It actually belonged to my brother-in-law's grandma. And when she passed, it was given to my mom, and she's loaning it to me right now, which is very kind. Thank you for all the kind comments about my quilt. Was the fabric for my stash? No. I actually went out and bought all those fabrics because it was going to be a huge, like, ongoing year-long project that turned into like 3-year project on my channel. And I had like specific ideas for how I wanted it to look. So I wanted to go out and purchase fabrics that I knew coordinated, that I knew I would have enough of. And actually, I was just a touch shy on fabric because my mom had to piece in some white fabric of her own on the backing. So I was close, but she had to add a little bit of white on the back. And do I have a dream machine I'd love to have? I love vintage machines. They're my favorite. I don't give a hoot for modern machines, to be honest, because I don't do like fancy stitches. I don't do any of that stuff. Like this one is from like the late 90s, and that's as new as I ever want to really have. I would like to have a treadle machine sometime. The first vintage machine I ever bought was a Singer from the 50s, and I got it for $5 in the cabinet, like the cabinet and everything, $5, because the top of the cabinet, the wood, had been water damaged, but like the machine was totally fine. And I still have that machine at my parents' house. The reason I don't use it is because it's built into the machine in the way that, sorry, it's built into the cabinet in a way that it cannot be removed and still function without like swapping out some parts. And I've just never done that. But at that same yard sale, they had a treadle machine. And at the time, I lived with my parents and we lived in a smaller house and everything. And I was like, I'm barely going to have room for this one machine. Like, there's no way I can buy two vintage machines. I don't even know if I'm going to like vintage machines, you know, all this stuff. I was like, I don't know, 20 or something, 19 maybe. And so I passed up a treadle machine that was $15, but it was in worse looking condition than the other one. But they had it marked at a higher price because it's older. And so I passed it up. I didn't get it. And I've been kicking myself for the last like 15 years for not buying a treadle machine for $15. So someday I would love to own a treadle sewing machine, like an antique treadle sewing machine that actually functions, that I could use for like when the power goes out and things like that. I think it would just be so cool. It would be awesome. And it's a good leg workout too. I got to use a treadle machine one time at Silver Dollar City, actually. There was a lady there during the craft festival who was sewing on one, and she was so awesome. She let me sit down and try it. It was very hard, though, because her booth was on a slant and her chair had wheels. So I was like rolling away from the treadle as I was trying to get it going, and it was very difficult. But there is a video of that on my YouTube channel somewhere. Oh, and funny thing, on my sampler sew along, the quilt I was just showing, I got done with, I believe it was the log cabin block, which was the very last one, and one of my favorite blocks of the quilt. And I realized that one of the white pieces was flipped upside down. So it's in the quilt backwards. Like the seams are all on the right side, but or on the correct side. But the fabric is white tone on tone and it's reversed. And I was just like, nope, not taking it out. Nope. That block turned out exactly how I wanted it. Other than that, not fixing it. So, but this made me think of it because I'm using white tone on tone right now. And I was checking like, is it the right way? To answer, yes, this is all mechanical. There's no digital on it. And that is how I prefer it. It is simple. It does what it's supposed to do. And I don't have to deal with any more computery stuff than I have to. I say as I am a YouTuber. I don't actually enjoy working with computers that much. What is a treadle machine? A treadle machine is like what they used pre-modern electricity, or when modern electricity wasn't available everywhere. So you had to, there was a big metal base at the bottom that was on like kind of a hinge-ish system, and you would pump your feet like this to get it going, and that's what moved this huge belt that would power your machine. anyone who is just joining, oh, someone said, what machine am I using? It's a Singer Simple from the 90s that was passed down from my brother-in-law's grandma to my mom to me. And to those who are just joining, I am working on a fabric banner for my daughter's birthday. She wanted to have a Snoopy theme, and there is no Snoopy birthday decor that I could find. So I'm making her a banner, and it's going to look something like that, minus the mess around it. I haven't cleaned my sewing space in a very long time. See what time it was. I am using this machine just because I had it out and handy. I had made some projects recently that needed buttonholes, and it's easy to do buttonholes on this machine, and I've just been too lazy to swap them. So the other one's just sitting there, literally because I'm too lazy to swap them back. So, and I'm going to be needing to sew some buttonholes again really soon. So it was just easier to leave this machine in this spot. And then when I'm all done working on like clothing projects, then I can switch back to the other one. But a year ago when I was making all the masks, I made over 650 masks to donate. That's when I pretty much killed my brown vintage machine that needs the new motor, that had a replaced motor and it was junk and all this stuff. And then I started using this and it started acting up a little bit. So I switched to this and this one sews way slower than a vintage machine. This one's slower than my old machine. This one is tremendously slow. To what I sew like 90 miles an hour typically. And, but I was sewing so much that I was just wearing out the machines. They needed to be maintained. And so that's when I really started using this. Kay, I'm not understanding your question. That's awesome, Beck. I'm glad you are sewing from your stash. That is wonderful. I definitely am still sewing from my stash, but I'm also allowing myself to buy fabric when I need it without feeling bad. Like I went and bought this because I needed fabric for this project. And it's like I'm still turning to my stash first, but I'm also not going to be super hard on myself if I do need to buy fabric. Okay, so where'd my scissors go? Okay, so I got all my banners chain pieced together. So then I'm just going to clip them apart. And I would love to know if you are working on a project as well while you watch my video. I would love to know. Okay, scooch that out of the way. Okay, then I am going to trim the ends so that they won't be bulky. But make sure not to cut the actual stitching itself. So here's how they look at this point. They have a fold on this side, sewn on this side, and then the two short sides are open. You're sewing a quilt jacket. Oh my goodness, I want to make a quilt jacket so bad. That's actually the reason I got back. I'm working on a project for my husband as well that I had started many years ago. And I'll show you it while I'm at it. Okay, so I started this project years and years ago. And then recently wanted to make myself a quilt jacket because I keep seeing them on Instagram and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want one. But I'm trying to be a responsible adult. And so I told myself that I'm not allowed to start a new big project without like making significant progress on an old project. So I dug my old project out and I started making more pieces. So this is a Star Wars paper pieced book quilt that I'm making for my husband. I originally worked on it like for 1 week and made several blocks, and then I worked on it for like nothing for like 3 years, and then I've worked on it 2 evenings since then and made like 6 more blocks. It takes a lot of time. It's very fiddly, very fussy. It's based on a design I saw years ago, but the design I saw did not have the pages, and I wanted it to have the pages, or I forget if it didn't have no, wait, it may have had the pages, but it didn't have the outline here. Maybe that's what it was. I don't remember. So I designed my own version of the quilt block because I can't just do anything the normal way. I have to, make it harder. And so I'm working on this, and I will not be sharing a tutorial on this because it is very much based on something I saw that someone else had created originally. But I am probably going to share the pattern and a like step-by-step photos on it on my Patreon. So my patrons eventually will more than likely get a copy of my pattern as well as a photo step-by-step on how I'm doing it, because it is, like I said, it's time consuming because it's a 2-part paper piecing pattern, because you have to piece the bottom section and then the top section separately and then sew them back together and all this stuff. So yeah, it won't be on YouTube at any point, guaranteed, unless I show like the finished project here. But anyway, so I'm trying to make some progress on this before I can start planning and making a quilt jacket, even though I want to make a quilt jacket so badly. But this project did remind me how much I love paper piecing. So if and when I do get around to making a quilt jacket, it's more than likely going to be paper pieced. So, and I also want to make a quilt for our bed too, because we need a new quilt. Our other one is old and tearing up, and I'm not happy with any of them I find at the store. So I may end up making that too, which is very time consuming and not exactly what I want to do, but kind of what I want to do at the same time. So I don't know. We shall see. Somebody said they were cross stitching. Yay! I've been cross stitching a ton. And designing my own patterns and all kinds of stuff, and I cannot wait to share what I've been doing. I do hope to relaunch my Etsy store soon with some of my cross stitch designs, because I am so excited about them and I want to share them with the world. Okay, so those are trimmed and ready to turn right sides out. I lost my, there it is. So making a fabric banner like this is definitely not hard in any way, shape, or form, but it's very repetitive. So I tend to do an assembly line like this where I like sew them all and then I trim them all and poke out the point on all of them and do it that way instead of making one flag at a time, because I feel like it's the most efficient use of my time. But sometimes it does get kind of monotonous. And this is not even all of the banners that I'll be doing for it because I didn't feel like cutting that many out at once. I probably should not be using a pencil for this on this white fabric. Okay, we're going with a mechanical pencil, so the lead's not out. Yay, I'm glad that you like my bunting pattern. You're wanting to make a comforter. Okay, very cool. Any reason why a comforter and not a quilt? Just you don't want to do the piecing or because it's faster? I would love to know why. I have the quilt design that I'm considering for our bed. This is not working. The quilt design I'm considering for our bed, it is based off a picture I found on Pinterest of a quilt that is, I guess I'm going to just have to use a pencil. It is based on a quilt that is actually for sale at some store. I forget what store now. It's sold out right now, and it was in colors that I thought were absolutely ugly. But I like the design of it. It looks more impressive than it is to sew. If that, like, it's easier to sew than it looks, because it's like it kind of looks like stars, but it's stars made of like a solid center square, and then the pieces around it just have triangles sewn on their corners to make the stars points. So I think it would be fairly quick and easy, and I think I could talk my mom into sewing it with me. Like, we could have a sewing day and we could both work on it. And I think that would be fun and obviously get more work done at one time. But I don't know, because I would have to buy the fabric because I want it to look beautiful and coordinated and hopefully be on my bed for years and years and years to come. So, you know, it's not going to be cheap, because I'm going to have to buy fabric and I'm going to have to pay someone to long arm it, because I am not quilting a queen size quilt at all. And so it's going to end up costing more than just buying a quilt, but I would be very happy with it, hopefully. And I haven't been happy at all with any that I've seen in the store right now. So it's a big decision to make. It's a big commitment, because I surely do not want to buy all that fabric and then wimp out on it and not finish it, because that would not be cool at all. So I don't know. We'll see. It may end up like the costume I started last February and still have not finished. So I'm not always the best at finishing things. Almost done with this. And I have no idea how long I should stay on this live stream for. Yeah, I've seen that where you can like quilt sections and then piece it all together. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because then either your backing is not quilted with it or you have like joins on the backing, and I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I know it's possible, and I know a lot of people do it and like it, but I don't know how I would like it. And I don't want to, like, get a good way into a project and then decide, I don't really like this method, you know? Okay, I'm going to switch to this wool pressing mat that my mom gave me and try it out and hope it doesn't damage my table here as I press these. Either that or I'm going to have to turn to the side and then I'm going to be off camera. So, do you like tied quilts? I don't. I have tied 2 quilts, a denim rag quilt and a puff quilt. And on my denim rag quilt, almost all the ties have come off. And on my puff quilt, it is so heavy that sometimes when I pick it up, it pops some of the ties, like pops them open. So, like, I like tie quilts in theory, but I have not had good luck with them. So it's not something I consider as a long-term quilt option since I haven't had good luck with it. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm pressing that seam in the middle just a little bit, and then I am lining up the top edge the best I can. It doesn't always line up because I'm not super careful with my cutting. And I just give it a quick press. So on the back, the design actually goes toward a diagonal, which I don't care because this hangs on a wall and no one sees the back. And then the front looks super nice with a good point, with only having sewn the one seam and have it be one piece of fabric to start with. Okay, so 2 of those down and lots to go. I feel like I should probably have like a towel under this pressing mat because I think the steam is going straight through, but I don't have a towel handy. So I think I will just have to remember to move this pressing mat as soon as I'm done and then get a towel and dry my tabletop then. Yeah, I used pearl cotton, I believe, to tie my quilts. And it's been a while, but I think it was pearl cotton. And I don't know, they just didn't hold up well. Okay, I am out of water. And that's just regular bottled water. So yes, I just drank some of it that I put in my iron. Yeah, I feel like the pearl cotton one has held up a little better, but then again, I have not washed it yet because I'm a little afraid. We had a washing machine break last year, not for a quilt or anything. It just broke, quit working. And they don't make washing machines to last as long as they used to. They're only supposed to last like 3 to 5 years now, which is ridiculous, but not the point. So I'm a little afraid to throw my super heavy puff quilt into my washer. So it has not been washed yet, but it doesn't get used that much. So the pearl cotton could absolutely fall out the first time it's washed, for all I know. The sewing machine I have right here is a Singer 201-2, I think. It is on loan to me from my mom because the motor on my vintage machine went bad and the replacement motor was absolute garbage. So we replaced the motor and it did zero good. So my mom is loaning me one of her extra machines. And actually, that one is actually from the same, my brother-in-law's grandma who passed away, and my mom ended up with her sewing machines. So both my machines actually came to me in that form. Do I have other hobbies besides sewing? Yes. I read like it's going out of style. So I have read like 40 something books this year. And I also, my mom got me back into cross stitching after like 15 years of not cross stitching. She got me back into it at Christmas time. So I've been cross stitching like crazy and designing my own patterns and all kinds of stuff. And then sewing, quilting, all kinds of stuff like that. See ya, Paula. Have fun at the beach. I wish it was that nice out here today. It is actually chilly out, and I had to cover my garden last night because I was afraid it was going to get frosty. And basically from now until Wednesday morning, I have to keep watching the weather and see if I need to cover my plants. And I have garden plants like all over the place. So I am, I think I'm actually going to have to baste together several old sheets that I have like for cutting up. And like I have a whole bag of sheets that I've thrifted for using for fabric. I'm going to have to baste a bunch of them together so I can cover my garden with them, because what I used last night did not work well. And like lay them all over my, thankfully I have like tomato cages and stuff. So I'm going to lay them on top of that and just hope it's good enough, because now they're saying like 32 or 34 degrees overnight Tuesday night. And I don't want my garden plants to die because I worked really, really hard on my garden. This is my first year to be like serious about gardening. Like I've grown tomatoes and stuff in the past, but this is my first time to be like serious about gardening. And I've worked so hard, gotten my raised beds ready and all this stuff. I do not want anything to hurt them. Beck, how do I do it all? I don't. I homeschool my kids, I cook, and we survive, and I don't clean. I don't really clean. That's how I get it all done. Have I ever made sheets? No, I have not. It's just not something that interests me. I'd rather just get my sheets at the thrift store for like $2 and use them, and when they wear out, they wear out. And yeah, I don't want to spend the money to buy sheeting material, that like super wide fabric. I just don't want to spend the money on it. Who cleans? I don't know. We get by. I kind of just save all the cleaning up for like one day and then do it all in a mass marathon style. It works. What I am working on, I'm working on a Snoopy banner for my daughter's 5th birthday that is next week. Here is what the little flags look like. They're from a free pattern that I have available as a PDF on my website, and it'll look something like that. So yeah. But now it seems like I get a lot done, but really I don't. I struggle a lot, especially during the winter, with seasonal effectiveness junk and severe vitamin D deficiency and all kinds of stuff. So during the winter, I feel like I get absolutely nothing done at all. So once spring and summer roll around, I do everything possible in the world, and it feels fantastic to get things done, and I feel so lovely and accomplished, and I literally just do everything I possibly can, because I know that come next winter I'm going to feel like absolute garbage again. So that's the honest truth. Yes, I do have a tutorial for this. Let me get some links for you. Okay, in the comments, there is the tutorial for the banner. And here is the pattern, the PDF pattern. And the video showing how I turn my pattern into a plastic template so that it's easier to use over and over again. Yeah. So, and right now, all of my, sorry, I blinked. All my PDF patterns on my website and my shop are currently free at this time. So, yeah, go take advantage of that. If you want any of my PDF patterns, they are free. Do I do Whitney's Tiny Life anymore? No, I don't, because my vlog camera broke, and we bought a second-hand camera hoping I could get back to vlogging with it, but it ended up being older than we realized, so the quality was not great. So our oldest has been asking for a camera. She loves taking pictures because my husband is a photographer, and so she wanted to have a camera like Daddy and go and take pictures and stuff. And so we ended up giving that camera to my daughter for Christmas because it wasn't good enough quality. And so she is really enjoying it. She's actually off today taking some pictures at an event, an outdoor costume event. So with my husband, they're both being photographers today. And then my youngest is one of the people dressed up in the costume. So that's how I have a quiet house right now. But long story to say, no, I don't do my vlogs anymore because my vlogging camera is broke. And I don't know that I'll ever get a new one, or if I will be getting a new one anytime soon. So, yep. Okay, so I need to see how many flags I have made to see if I need to make more and kind of get an idea of the layout. So I have this one that looks like the little comic strip. I have 3 of those. I have this one. I have 3 of those. I have 4 tone-on-tone white, 2 of this tiny polka dot, and 2 of the bigger dot. So, and oh yeah, I need to find another yellow fabric. That's what I need to do. So I have a dresser next to my table that my sewing machine's on. And that is what I have all of my like go-to fabric stuffed in. And I don't see any yellow. Dang it. Okay. I might have to go and buy a yellow fabric. I really don't want to. Thank you for counting them for me. Let's see. I wonder if I have enough of this. So this is a piece left over from my sampler sew along quilt. Nope, it's not big enough. Well, Okay. I won't be finishing my banner today because I apparently don't have enough fabric. Because I really want to put yellow in it to represent Woodstock. Okay. But maybe I can still kind of lay them out and get an idea of the layout, because I do want to kind of know how much yellow fabric I need to get. So I could do like red comic fabric, white, yellow, this fabric. Let's see. I think that's a good order. So if I do it this way, so I have a red fabric, then the comic one, then white, then yellow, and then this fabric, and then just repeat it again, using this red fabric the next time and kind of alternating that. I do have one less of this one, so I can either just cut another one, or I'll probably just cut another one because I would hate to leave off. This is my favorite fabric. So I think I'll make one more of these, and then I will need 4 yellow banners. So I'll need to buy enough fabric for 4 yellow banners. I'll probably just go ahead and buy extra if I can find something like this, because I do like to have a lot of like tone on tone kind of things on hand. So I think that's what I'll do. I will go to the store today or tomorrow, get some more yellow. In the meantime, I will cut one more of the Charlie Brown and Snoopy Woodstock one, and then I think once that is sewn, I am done all I can do today. Okay. And it's probably going to be a pretty big banner. I never like think about how long they're going to be while I'm making them. And then I go to hang them up and I'm like, ooh, that's big. You know, that happens every time. I just get carried away and make lots and lots of flags. But whatever. Oh, so I have to mention this because it's been stuck in my head all week. I finally got on the Hamilton train, and I watched Hamilton this week for the very first time on Monday. I started it at like 11 o'clock Monday evening because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. Like, I usually have a hard time understanding lyrics, just like in regular songs, let alone in like fast-paced songs and, you know, with people singing ensemble and all that stuff. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to get that much out of it, because it will take me several times of hearing it to really like understand all of what they're saying and everything. So I was like, I'll just watch a little bit, and then if I like it, I'll like pause it and come back another day. If I don't, like whatever. Yeah, I ended up staying up until 2 a.m. to finish it. It was good. So I get the hype now. I love musical theater, you know, and it was good. I'm not one for like language in things, but I actually felt like, because of the way the show is written and the music and everything, I felt like most of the language actually fit. Like, I hate to say that because I don't know, but I'm not sure that they could have left much of it out and it's still gotten the true point across. I don't know. Anyway, so since Monday night, all the songs have been stuck in my head this entire week. And yeah, I'll probably have to watch it again soon. And because of that, I finally was like, okay, so this entire musical was based on a biography that Lin-Manuel Miranda read. You know, I love reading historical fiction and nonfiction and autobiographies, typically, not necessarily biographies, but I'm like, if someone can get the entire inspiration for a hit musical out of this biography, it must be really well written. So I decided to read the biography. a day and a half ago. And come to find out, it is incredibly long. If you listen to the audio of it, it's 36 hours, which is insanely long. And I'm doing the ebook, and in 24 hours, I made it 2 chapters in, and 5.9% of the way through the book. So it's going to take me forever. But it's probably one of the best written biographies that I've read in a very long time. So I do like it so far. And it's interesting. I love, where did my scissors go? There it is. I do love reading about history. I did not enjoy history in school by any means. But once I discovered like historical fiction and things like that, where I can read about like the everyday lives of people, even though obviously fictionalized, but they're still based on true events and things. And then I can read the historical fiction and find different points in history that interest me, and then go and read the actual accounts from it, the nonfiction accounts. And so I really enjoy that. So I've taken on a new reading project, and it's going to take me an eternity to read. But yeah, so that's also what I've been doing in my not so spare time. I actually, during college, costumed a musical. Like, I was one of the 2 costumers in charge of costuming like 80 characters or something ridiculous like that, and was severely underqualified at the time. But they trusted me and my friend with it, and I mean, we made it through. But so musical theater has a special place in my heart. Yeah, I was way underqualified for that job. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get off here soon, unless anyone else has any like questions or anything, because I've done as much as I can do today, since I don't have enough yellow fabric. I did see someone ask earlier if I picked out a binding. I have this double fold bias tape, the extra wide double fold bias tape, left over from when I was making masks last year, and so that is what I'm going to be using for the like string for the banner. So I'm not seeing, oh, there we go. Okay. Awesome. I am so glad that my videos helped you make memory bears. That's awesome. Yeah, so that is my plan, because, you know, I figure it won't stand out, and that's kind of a good thing if it's the binding isn't really noticeable. So yeah, I think I did good. I got most of it done. And yeah, so now that my family is still out of the house, I think once I am done with this video, I'm going to get back to work on my Jeffers. I know. They are being made out of the same curtain fabric that was left over from the pinafore dress that I made last year. And actually, funny enough, I had bought a curtain and had it in my stash. I don't even know like when I got it. I just had it. And then I found a set of Pottery Barn curtains at the thrift store for 75% off, and bought those to make my pinafore out of. And then I was like, oh, this is like exactly like the one I had at home already. So I used one set of curtains to make my pinafore dress. I had some of it left over, and then I had the original one left over. And come to find out, they're slightly different shades. So one is like more off-white and one's more like white-ish leaning. So I had to cut pieces from both of those to make these to have enough fabric. And so on the back side of the legs, one side is going to be cut from the lighter color fabric and one's going to be cut from the darker color fabric. And that one leg should be the only thing on the whole pants that's from that lighter fabric. So hopefully it's not noticeable. And if it is noticeable, hopefully people will just think that there's like a shadow on one leg and not on the other. But these are really just to test the pattern, but you better believe I will wear them if they turn out good. Because I can. And then I'm supposed to have like suede for the inner leg insert thing. And I don't have any. So I have this I don't even know what it is. I thought it was flannel for a really long time. And it's not, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's probably like a microfiber blend. Like microfiber and cotton blend or something. And I had used it on a project and just had the tiniest bit of scraps left over. So I pieced them together, both of them. And then serged around the outer edges so it doesn't fray, because you're supposed to use a material that doesn't fray, but mine does. And this is going to be my inner leg inserts. I'm being super scrappy using what I have, but like I said, it's testing out a pattern, and it may work, it may not, I don't know. So if it doesn't work, then I'm not out like super nice stuff or anything. So it doesn't matter. But anyway, I should probably end this video here. So thank you all so much for joining me while I made this bunting. If you didn't see it yet, it's going to look something like that, but in Snoopy fabrics. So I really appreciate you all for coming along with me while I worked on this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and happy sewing.